guys, can't leave this one to review on one of my all-time 80s favorite movies, Uncle Buck. Google, tell me about the movie Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck is a 1989 movie directed by John Hughes, starring John Candy, Jean Louisa Kelly, and Macaulay Culkin.
Yo, and I gotta say this real quick, right? Let me just start off saying, so watching this movie, this came out in '89, so I'm 1 year old. So obviously, I didn't see this movie until I'm like, 4, 5, 6, 7, like around 5, 6 or 7 years old, right, of age. So like around 94, 95, really, and 96 or whatnot, 90, around that age, right? So point is, the reason why I'm bringing that up, yeah, like when you're like 7, 8, or 9 or some shit, right? Excuse me. Point is that this was one of my favorite movies popping in. Like I remember having the video cassette tape, popping it into the VCR. It's just one of the, one of my favorite comedy movies. It's a family comedy movie, and the reason why I enjoy this movie, well, let me start off by saying, first of all, Uncle Buck had your back. It was just one of those comedy movies. I didn't know the comedian too well, but I liked his character. He was a guy that came off with great vibes. So, starting off with it right here, right? So there's 3 kids. So Uncle Buck is Uncle Buck. He is Uncle Buck. He gets called in to do a family emergency because the parents of one teenager and 2 kids, two children, I don't know what you call them, 2 young children, 2 young kids, and one girl teenager. Their parents, the father has a heart attack. So they have a family emergency and they have no one to call and no one to ask the neighbors and do this and that. So they're like, hey, why don't we call Uncle Buck? So they end up resorting to calling Uncle Buck. Now, Uncle Buck is a guy that doesn't have a job, doesn't work, doesn't have kids, doesn't have a wife, doesn't have, all of these things that a man's supposed to have going on for himself or whatnot, right? So they're very hesitant in asking Uncle Buck if they should do that. If they should, they're hesitant asking him if, hey, would you babysit us, while we have this family emergency. And the thing about this is that I want to say though, it's kind of it's a family comedy, guys. I recommend people watch this movie and show this to their kids and show this this is a movie that I recommend where mom, dad, daughter, son, the dog are all in the living room and pop this in and laugh together, because I think this is one of those movies where people are going to laugh together watching it. Yes, it's very outdated. Yes, it's very old. And that's okay, because these movies work, is what I'm trying to say. So, going off, he has an old car, and it's so funny because when he drops off the kids at school, the car makes a big ass noise or whatever, so it's kind of embarrassing to be riding with him and be with him. The teenager's giving him a hard time off the rip because she's in her teenager years. You know how teenagers can be. Oh, I hate my life. You're trying to ruin my life. So it's whatever. It's just a good movie. The grandpa got sick, like I told you, so that's why the parents are out of town. And it's very old, scary, funny. I don't want to say this movie aged well, because it probably did not, to be honest with you. But the moral of the story is all the morals are in there. I wouldn't show this to any Gen Z kids or teenagers. I don't think it would sit too well with them. The reality, because again, the 80s was just a tougher year. You had to be tough. They were tough. They were the generation of the hard knocks, or the hard knocks. I think that's what that generation was called back then. So, and it's an easy movie to watch. That's just my whole point, guys. The thing that's interesting about this movie too, this is how old school things are, like how old the movie is, and it shows the time, because when you would call, you would say hello, how are you? You would answer the phone saying hello, because the phones were calling the houses, not cell phones, what we have today. So if you look at it and you pay attention, every time they're answering the phone, they're like hello, and then if you were trying to reach, to say, Sabrina or whoever, they'll be like, hey, Sabrina's not here right now, can I leave a message? So I thought that was very interesting. Guys, again, I'm gonna run way too further than what I like to, but again, I want to show you guys, right now you can't catch it on Netflix. Shout out to Netflix for having it. All you gotta do is go on Netflix and press play, and you'll be able to watch it. Guys, if you're enjoying the reviews, please don't forget to press the Google like, follow, subscribe button. It helps so much. by pressing the subscribe button, bringing more content on the way and more content on the way. And I will see you guys on the next one.